Most people think building an AI agent is all about the tools, the software, and the automations, but the reality is it's not. I've built dozens of AI agents that actually book real calls for businesses, and I'll tell you the truth, 90% of your results actually come down to one single prompt. If your prompt isn't dialed in, it's not going to know when to use the tools, it's going to get derailed in conversations, and your whole project is going to end up being a mess. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I write my prompts for all of our clients. I'm going to show you the exact structure, and I'm going to give you the template for this prompt completely for free. Welcome to this mini course, and without any further ado, let's get right into it. Now, back in the days when we used to build AI chatbots, you could get away with lazy prompting. Why is that? Because a chatbot usually consisted of many small prompts and the logic to piece them together. With AI agents, all of this has changed because you have one single prompt that needs to be able to navigate the entire conversation, which tools to use, when to retrieve knowledge, what not to do, and so much more. It's not only essential for the power of your system, but also for your cost. A prompt that's written in an inefficient way is going to cost you more in token usage than a prompt that's written correctly. You can think of the prompt of your AI agent as its brain. How good would your body be if you didn't have a brain to support all of the functions that it has available? The same concept applies to AI agents, so let's really briefly touch on the two types of prompt engineering that currently exist. Now, the first one is conversational prompting. This is what you do with ChatGPT, where you ask something, it gives you an answer, and you're able to go back and forth until the output is what you want it to be. This allows for a lot of mistakes to be made because you can just keep retrying until you are satisfied with the outcome. Now, the type of prompting, however, that we use for AI agents is single shot prompting. And as the name already says, you have a single shot to get it right because you have one prompt and this one input determines your output. There are no do-overs, you can't try again, you can't change it mid-conversation. This one single prompt is going to determine the output and there's no going back. Now, without boring you with too many logistics, I know you guys just want the AI agent prompt. Let me show you the prompt template right here. I have written together an example prompt for Omni Skincare, which is the leading skincare provider in North America, obviously a fictitious sub-company of Omnifusion.ai. But this prompt breakdown is going to show you exactly the format that I use, and I'm going to go through it and make sure that you fully understand all of the things to pay attention to when writing a prompt. Now, the simple prompt structure that I use is to start off with the role/context, where you want to give the AI an idea of who it is, what it's doing, and where it is communicating with people. That's a very important aspect. You want to make sure to let your AI agent know if it's talking to people via email, via Instagram, via WhatsApp. Second is going to be the style. How should the AI speak? What kind of tone should it have? What phrases should it avoid, etc. All of that goes into this section. The third point is the instructions/the task. You want to briefly explain a high-level overview of what the AI is here to do. The next part is going to be a script. Most AI agents will require a script, especially if they're AI sales agent, which is what we specialize in at Omnifusion. But if it's a customer support agent, this might more be a step-by-step process of figuring out the solution to their problem. Either way, you need a script or a steps section for your AI agent to actually give it inputs on what to do and in which order. We then have the tools. As you know, N8N agents, for example, or even Flowise agents can have custom tools which allow it to update a CRM, retrieve knowledge, etc. You want to explain these tools. In this example right here, I have a scheduling tool, which is a Google Calendar event tool, where I want to explain exactly how to use that tool and when to use it. And then we have additional inputs. Sometimes I also add a knowledge section right above this, where I just specify some knowledge which the AI should always know about the business, not just when it retrieves from a knowledge base. Now, this template may seem easy enough, but it is a reiteration process to actually make this prompt perfect. This template will give you the framework, but it will take time and effort for you to actually get the hang of how to specifically write them and how to test them, because the most important part about AI agents is to be able to reiterate the prompt over and over again in testing until it is actually perfect. Nobody on this planet has ever written a prompt once and it had the perfect outcome every time. It just doesn't happen. So with that in mind, let's go over to N8N. I'm gonna go ahead and open up an agent which I've built for a previous video where I showed how to set up a knowledge base. We're gonna click on the agent and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the prompt right here. Now, the prompt is just one aspect of the prompting system. The other aspect is going to be the LLM that you use. In this case, we're using OpenAI and we're using GPT-4o. That is usually the running standard. GPT-4o is the fastest, the cheapest, and the best option available out there today if you actually want to use it in production. Now, a couple things here are really going to influence how your prompt reacts to situations. Most important being the sampling temperature. Now, the temperature determines how strictly your agent is going to stick to the prompt instructions or how creative it gets. So the higher this number is, and you can do a number between 0 and 2, the higher it is, the more random it's gonna be, the more creative it's gonna be. If you set the temperature to 0, it's gonna stick to the prompt instructions very strictly. It's gonna stick to the wording that you have very strictly. And if you put a sample temperature of 2, it's gonna be very random and creative with its outputs. In most cases, something like 0.2 to 0.6 is gonna be the best. I like doing 0.3 for most of our projects because it gives it a little bit of versatility in its conversations, but it doesn't deviate off path too much. I've never actually seen an AI agent which has any sampling temperature over 1. So anything like 1.5 or 2, I would steer clear from because it will not work in real life scenarios. So assuming that we go with the standard of 0.3, we now have the temperature dialed in. The next important aspect that you need to dial in is your frequency penalty. Now, the frequency penalty can be used to avoid the AI being repetitive. You know how when you talk to ChatGPT, it will often end its sentences in the same way or start them in the same way? A higher frequency penalty will punish the AI for doing that. So if you set your frequency penalty to 0.5, it will punish your AI if it keeps repeating the same words. This will make your AI more human-like in conversation, and if you add a frequency penalty of, for example, 0.4, it will not repeat the same phrases over and over again, which is what a human does as well. A human will not end every single sentence in the same way. So this is really a key aspect to play around with, and if you change these aspects, you will notice how your prompt acts differently. Now, to briefly go back to the prompt itself, this very prompt template is available for free in our school community at school.com/Omnifusion. You can join there, access this prompt, and access all the other templates and resources that we have from almost 100 videos, which we've created over the past 1.5 years. This prompt is by no means perfect. I wrote this in 20 minutes for a YouTube video, but this is the starting framework, and as you test your agent, you can continue to add additional instructions to each of these areas based on mistakes that you're seeing it make. Testing the prompt is the single key to creating something that actually works in real life conversations. I could tell you right now that this prompt is perfect and that all you need to do is adjust it, but it simply wouldn't be the truth. When testing an AI agent prompt, you want to feed it objections. You want to throw edge case scenarios at it. You want to try and bring the AI off the given instruction. So in this case, it's supposed to follow a script. We're going to go ahead and test this real quick. For this, I'm simply going to go ahead and remove the webhook. I'm going to select chat trigger node. Now in this case, I'm going to give you a very easy example. I'm going to go ahead and open the chat. I'm going to say hi. We're going to get a reply back and I'm going to say gibberish. In this case, it says no worries. Just let me know when you're ready to chat about your skincare needs. Now in this case, we might want it to handle this situation differently. In this case, I would simply go into the AI agent. I would go into the instructions and say, if someone says something random to one of your messages, always follow up with a question to re-engage the prospect. We're gonna go ahead and save this, and we're now gonna try the exact same thing again. We're gonna go ahead and say hi. The AI is gonna respond. I'm gonna say gibberish. And as you can see, no worries, let's get back on track. How do you currently feel about your skin? Are there any specific concerns or issues you're experiencing? So it's now taken that approach. Now, I might still not be happy with this, and I can go ahead and further prompt it either in the instructions, or sometimes what I like to do is add an objections category right after the script where I can say, if someone says something random, and then I'm simply gonna do, are you serious about clearing up your skin? If so, let me know. And we're gonna go ahead and take it like this. Now, obviously I'm just pulling this out of thin air right here, but it's to show you how you would improve a prompt over time and make it react to situations in the way that you want it to. Are you serious about clearing up your skin? If so, let me know and we can get started with a few questions, which is honestly not a bad answer. You would keep doing this over time, check the tone, refine all of these situations, make sure it executes tools correctly. In this case, we have a vector store where I say, how much does it cost? As you can see, it ran the vector store. In this case, it had an error in this node because it's probably not set up correctly. No, there actually wasn't an answer for this in the knowledge base. Here it says the consultation is free, which is correct. It is a free skincare consultation that we're trying to offer, but you would just keep reiterating it like this over time. Something to watch out for as well is prompt drift. This happens if the conversation derails after a while. So it may have the first couple questions correctly, but sometimes when it's at step 5 or step 6, it may start to veer off course. In that case, you really need to dial it in further explain in the instructions to go step by step. If somebody derails the conversation, to always go to the last previously unanswered questions, things like that. Once you've tested your prompt and you're fully happy with the performance, I would always recommend going in and actually shortening wherever possible. Now, ChatGPT can help you with this. If you give this in and you say, I want to keep all of the instructions, I just want to shorten it and make it more concise, because as you start adding things in, it's going to get a little bit confusing and it's going to give you some great suggestions, or you can just go in yourself and optimize it right here. You can also optimize the amount of tokens that you're using by simply minimizing the amount of characters that you're using. For example, if the lead takes you off course can be adjusted to if lead takes you off course. You could probably even remove the U and it would still be able to handle those instructions. Now, I hope this gave you a good insight into how I personally write prompts for our projects. If you want access to this free template, go ahead and join the free school community. It's at school.com/omnifusion. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want us to build an AI sales agent for you, simply go ahead and visit Omnifusion.ai. We'll be more than happy to see if it's a good fit and if we can actually help you and your business. I hope you have a fantastic day and I'll talk to you soon.